Good morning. Just after 6 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Erin on vacation this week. Mr. Matt has local news just seconds away.
Shooting leaves 2 dead in Bossier. We'll have some details about that. Also going on in Bossier, a possible gas leak, and officials are looking into that. And Caddo Commission looking to stiffen some penalties for animal cruelty.
If I made a reference, and I meant to talk about this yesterday, but if I made a reference to the Harvard football guy, would you know what I was talking about? Would you know the situation? If you don't, it proves just because you go to Harvard doesn't mean you're smart. Matt has a dilemma. Maybe we'll talk about that. I'm prodding him in that direction. And is Adrian Perkins a Republican plant? We will find that out this morning once and for all. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
Information. KEEL News now.
A shooting in Bossier City leaves 2 dead. Investigators say 2 people were shot and killed Monday night at the Mirage Apartments on East Texas Street. Officials say they are investigating the crime as a homicide and that no other details will be released at this time. A grand jury in Bossier indicts man for murder. David Sanders has been indicted by a grand jury on the charge of second-degree murder. Sanders allegedly beat, stabbed, then dismembered Stephen Milner before tossing his remains in a dumpster. Both men lived at Cordova Court Apartments. Sanders faces life without parole if convicted. The grand jury also indicted a former Bossier Parish teacher on 12 counts of sexual misconduct with children. Aubrey Norcross, a former teacher and coach at Benton Elementary School, faces several serious charges, including first-degree rape, video voyeurism, and 8 counts of molestation of a juvenile. The victims in these crimes were all under 12 years old, and some of the attacks allegedly happened on the Benton Elementary School campus. He also faces life in jail without the possibility of parole. Law enforcement officials investigate South Bossier gas leak. Members of the state police with Bossier Police and Fire are investigating a possible gas leak at a Shell station on the corner of Jimmy Davis Highway and Barksdale Boulevard. Hazmat teams were on the scene late last night investigating the smell of gas. While not a lot of details were given, investigators say there is no threat to the public. If you're roasting a bird this Thursday, an LSU Ag Center food safety expert has some key safety tips to follow. Matt Doyle has that.
First, you need to start defrosting it in the fridge today so you don't have to sit it out and defrost it on the countertop, potentially spreading contamination from turkey water. Then make sure you bake that bird to 165 all over, and when people are done eating it,
put the leftover in the fridge. Don't wait until the end of the day. So we're talking about 2 hours.
And keep an eye on the kids while you're in the kitchen.
So you want to make sure don't let the kids lick the raw cookie dough or lick the cake batter, because we have seen a lot of those outbreaks too.
I'm Matt Doyle.
Speaking of the holidays, during this time of the year, crime spikes across the country. Bossier police have some advice to keep you safe during this holiday season. The Armed Robbery Task Force warns not to shop alone or carry large amounts of cash. They also say not to post that you're leaving home on social media and to only donate to charities that you know are legitimate, as scammers will try to take advantage of your Christmas cheer. And the 8th-ranked LSU Tigers look for their 8th straight win over Texas A&M when the 2 teams meet on Saturday night in College Station. The Aggies are 7-4, and they rank number 1 in the SEC in defending the run. But Coach Ed Orgeron says he wants a balanced offensive attack against A&M.
We have to find a way to run the football. We just can't drop back and throw it. That's not what we do. But obviously, the play action pass, the protection is going to have to be excellent. They have some great rushers. We have to pick and choose our time where we go deep. Obviously, we have to hit some deep balls and use the tight end like we've been using the tight end, spread the ball around. I know Steve's going to have a great plan.
You can listen to the game Saturday night on our sister station, 1130 The Tiger, KWKH. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Ten past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL Tuesday morning traffic. I think Ruben's here.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Watch out for patches of dense fog, and if you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, who is away today and back on Monday. I think she's vacationing somewhere, an undisclosed destination. Did she text you yet today?
Not today.
What? So far, what have you said 100 times? If she worked as hard when she's here as she does when she's not here.
She'd be Walter Cronkite. She'd be winning awards.
Okay. Do you want to discuss your dilemma?
We can, I guess.
Do you? No. I don't want to force you into anything. And if you want to think about it a while, I understand.
I'm not scared, and they're probably not awake yet.
And the point being that if we discuss your dilemma and those involved in said dilemma here, one must admit it would solve your dilemma.
It would. It would take care of a problem I have.
Should I give the Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884? I'll say that again, 318-392-1884. And listeners who may have been in this situation before can offer some sort of solution and or advice. You think that's a good idea?
I think that might help me out.
Okay. You sure you want to do this?
Yeah, might as well.
You sure you want to do this?
Well, I need some advice, and you might be slightly out of the age range where it matters, where you would be able to help a fellow in my situation.
There is, in fact, no. This is. I had 2 dates in one night before with 2 different women when I was like early 30s, but it was like one was from like 6:30 to 9, and the other one was from like 9:30 to midnight. So, and we went to the same place.
See, I've done that before.
And
that
had the same
well.
had the same waiter. He thought I was awesome. But this is literally a Leave It to Beaver or My Three Sons episode come to life. I'm not sure. In a nutshell, tell everyone what has happened.
All right. So
in one sentence to start off, in one sentence, tell everyone what has happened.
I double booked myself with dates for Willie Nelson on Friday.
Okay. What else would you like to tell us? How did this happen?
Well, I invited a young lady out, a couple of months ago, and which
you have in your not defense. You have been planning on. I mean, Willie Nelson is one of your top 5 favorites.
Yeah, I love Willie. So I was planning on going. I invited a young lady to join me. When I first got tickets months ago, and then I don't want to say forgot about her, but I forgot that I invited her to said event. And then I invited another young lady, and then both of them texted me back at the same time. Yeah, I can't wait to hang out. Whoops.
Wow. I think this happened to Wally Cleaver in like 1958.
Well, see, I've done this before.
Ward made him stand up. Ward made him talk. Ward made him go and face down the 2 high schoolers that he had booked dates with.
Well, see, I've done this before.
What?
I'm not very good at being single because I forget what plans I make.
Wait. This is not the first time this has happened to you?
No, but it's the first time it's happened at the Horseshoe. If it's at the CenturyLink Center, you just buy an extra set of tickets in a different section. But there's no way to get away with that.
Wait. Hold on a second.
At the Horseshoe.
Let's back up a second. So the last time this happened, it was for an event at CenturyLink Center.
Yeah.
And are you being serious?
Yes.
You really did this?
Yeah. And I had to, I went with one.
Wait. So you bought 4 tickets. You had 2.
Uh-huh.
You inadvertently asked 2 different women.
Yep.
And what you did was bought another pair of tickets and said, I'll meet you there. Exactly what did you do?
Well, technically, it was a station event for a radio station in the building I used to work for.
Yeah.
So I just told them, hey, I'll meet you there. I got to work. So I would bounce back and forth between both women.
How did that work out?
It went great until I realized they both smoked, and we all ran into each other at the smoking section.
So then what happened? Other than you took 7 minutes off your life collectively.
Yeah, it wasn't nice.
So what's your plan?
I don't know. I have no plan at this point.
It is rather a relatively. It's a venue of limited size.
Yeah, there's no way to space them out.
No, or you can bop back and forth.
Yeah.
You want to get advice? 318-392-1884, Shreveport Security Systems text line.
Any help whatsoever.
Is honesty off the table here? Is that basically is this just not?
No, it's going to come to that probably where I'm going to have to just.
So you're going to end up alienating. If you told each of them the truth, what do you think would happen?
I think one wouldn't mind and the other wouldn't speak to me again.
Is the one who wouldn't speak to you again the one you kind of like the more?
Yes.
That's
where the problem lies.
Shreveport security. Look. This is not a radio bit. I mean, it is. We made it into one. But the point is that this is real.
And by the way, it wasn't like a scumbag move or anything like that on my part. I just forgot, and I'm searching for a way out.
318.
Without hurting feelings.
392-1884, or if you prefer, 1-800-SCUMBAG. Shreveport Security System. Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. If you have advice for Matt, we'll check up on that all morning. Is it okay if they put stuff up on Facebook?
Yeah.
What could go wrong? The truth shall set you free. Okay, so I had teased at the top of the hour. In fact, I wrote it down here, made a little note. Matt has a dilemma. Don't wash raw poultry. We'll get to that later. Oh, here we go. Is Adrian Perkins a Republican plant? What does that mean? And why would I think that? And what are we going to do to find out if that could possibly be true? Talk about that when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update right now. I can't wait to look at the text line. Traffic update, here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Watch out for patches of dense fog, and if you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Sports Update Sports Update for Tuesday morning. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. In the highest scoring Monday Night Football game in history and third highest scoring game in league history, the LA Rams nipped Kansas City 54-51. It's the first time ever that both teams scored 50 or more points in an NFL game as well. But not until former Chiefs cornerback Marcus Peters picked off Patrick Mahomes with under 20 seconds to play could the bulk of fans in the LA Coliseum relax. Jared Goff threw for 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Rams. Mahomes finished with 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he was picked off 3 times and fumbled twice. The Rams' Samson Ekubon had a pick 6, a scoop and score, and he hit Mahomes on the Chiefs' last gasp that caused the ball to flutter into Peters' arms. The Rams are now 10-1, while the Chiefs fall to 9-2. LSU cornerback Greedy Williams, a Calvary alum, has been named one of 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award presented to the nation's top defensive back. Former North Webster Knight, LSU junior linebacker Devin White is one of 5 finalists for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the top linebacker in college football. And LSU's Cole Tracy is one of 3 finalists for the Lou Groza Award, which goes to the college football top place kicker. All of these were announced on Monday. In men's hoops, Houston took care of Northwestern State 82-55. The Cougars closed the first half on an 11-2 run and opened the second half on a 14-2 spurt to put away the Demons. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. How you doing, kid?
I'm hanging in there, Bob.
Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin away until next Monday. Shreveport Security Systems text line. If you heard the last segment and you heard about Matt's problem, don't forget we'll bring it up again more. Don't worry, we'll bring it up again a couple or 3 or 4 or 5 more times. 318-392-1884. I'm a little raspy. How do I sound today?
Not bad.
I'm kind of pushing it a little bit to get to it. It's there. I get colds like once every 4 or 5 years, and when I do, they tend to settle in my throat, and I can tell by this time tomorrow morning I'm going to be totally hoarse. I mean, laryngitis is on the way. So I'm just trying to, I am attempting to speak in a professional broadcast manner using as little effort as possible. That's a lie. So anyway, we had made reference a couple of times, 3 times in fact, I think, to a couple of posts, rather, on his Facebook page made by former Mayor Cedric Glover. And it had to do with Adrian Perkins, the mayoral race, a couple of other things. And the one that caught my attention was basically the one where he said was, and you said there was more nuance involved. And a lot of listeners, and I'll read that post in a second, I think tend to agree. And in my mind, what Mr. Cedric was saying was, to his constituents, to fellow Democrats, to whoever was thinking about voting for Adrian, he was saying, hey, people who voted for Trump are probably going to vote for Adrian. What do you think about Trump? If you hate Trump, how could you think about voting for Adrian? Because all those bigots, all those Nazis, all those Trump supporters are, in fact, going to vote for Adrian. How could you do that? And you said, no, I know Cedric pretty well. There's a little more nuance to it than that. And you explained in your own inimitable style what he meant. And I said, Matt, I don't know. And then, this was last Friday morning, we got this text. I told you who it was from, you'd know the name. Mm-hmm. I think Glover might also be referring to the fact, and this is where it got interesting. I think Glover, says the text, I think Glover might also be referring to the fact, key word, to the fact that it was a group of Republicans who brought Adrian Perkins here to run in the first place. In cooperation, and this isn't, in my mind, this is where it starts to stretch credibility just a bit. But just let me go slow and start again. I think Glover might be referring to the fact that it was a group of Republicans who brought Adrian Perkins here to run in the first place in cooperation with the usual old guard Shreveport Democrat leadership types. Does that mean Tarver? Does that mean Greg Tarver? It's those wealthy conservatives who have backed Perkins and encouraged all those undecideds to break for Perkins that Glover is talking about, in my opinion. is the 35%. The 35% that voted, and I'm assuming it's about 99.9% Republican. The 35% of voters in the general election that voted for Jim Taliaferro or Leo Savage. That 35%. That is because they were third and fourth.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically who's going to decide this election if you can get the vast majority of those. Those, how do I want to phrase this? What do you think those chances are, since they've already voted against Ollie once, that they would vote for her the second time?
I think there might be a few people, but the majority are definitely going to vote.
When you say majority, you mean like 80% go
I'm
to
thinking
Adrian?
80, 85%.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, either you're going to stay home or you're going to vote for Adrian. You're not going to vote for Ollie in the majority of cases. Because, you know, if you didn't like what Ollie's doing and you don't like the way she runs things, you're not going to just all of a sudden change your mind about that.
So, to try to get to the bottom of this, to find out if it's true, to find out if it's a fact that, what was the phrase? Republican leaders. Look, I wrote it down. Is Perkins a Republican plant? Let me read from the text once again. The fact that it was a group of Republicans who brought Adrian Perkins here to run in the first place. So what that literally says is that there's all these Republican movers and shakers, these big-moneyed Republican important bigwigs behind the scenes who said to themselves, we want a mayor. We want somebody we can count on in the mayor's chair. And we can't get them. We can't get somebody who's a Republican elected. So here's our plan. We're going to get a black guy, and we're going to make him into a Democrat. That's what that says. That's what that text is saying.
And I think
he's the Manchurian candidate. That is telling you, that is telling me, that's telling everybody in Shreveport that Adrian Perkins, short of sweating on the train with Janet Leigh, is a Manchurian candidate. Am I wrong?
That's what that's suggesting, but I think it's as far-fetched as some of Cedric's theories. But you know what? Adrian's raising a ton of money, and it's coming from somewhere.
So to get to the bottom, just past 8 o'clock this morning, Republican Caddo Parish Republican Chairman Louis Avallone will be here and address that very text. Those same questions. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Matt has local news up next. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Watch out for patches of dense fog, and if you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A shooting in Bossier City leaves 2 dead. Investigators say 2 people were shot and killed Monday night at the Mirage Apartments on East Texas Street. Officials say they are investigating the crime as a homicide and that no other details will be released at this time. Law enforcement officials investigate South Bossier gas leak. Members of the state police with Bossier Police and Fire are investigating a possible gas leak at the Shell station on the corner of Jimmy Davis Highway and Barksdale Boulevard. Hazmat teams were on the scene late last night investigating the smell of gas. While not a lot of details were given, investigators say there is no threat to the public. A grand jury in Bossier indicts man for murder. David Sanders has been indicted by a grand jury on the charge of second-degree murder. Sanders allegedly beat, stabbed, and dismembered Stephen Milner before tossing his remains in a dumpster. Both men lived at Cordova Court Apartments. Sanders faces life without parole if convicted. The grand jury also indicted a former Bossier Parish teacher on 12 counts of sexual misconduct with children. Aubrey Norcross, a former teacher and coach at Benton Elementary School, faces several serious charges, including first-degree rape, video voyeurism, and 8 counts of molestation of a juvenile. The victims in these crimes were all under 12 years old, and some of the attacks allegedly happened on the Benton Elementary School campus. He faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Cattle Commission considers stiffening animal cruelty ordinance. The ordinance would add protection for pets left outside in temps below 32 degrees. After debating the issue during Monday's work session, the commission decided to send the proposal to the Animal Services Committee for further discussion. AAA is forecasting the number of travelers for Thanksgiving to be the highest since 2005. Kevin Barnhart has that story.
I think that it's just a better economy. People are feeling more confident.
With that positive outlook, spokesperson for AAA, Don Redmond, says people are traveling more this Thanksgiving than they have in many years. He says Sunday will likely be the day to see the most travel congestion.
The bulk of travelers are all returning from their Thanksgiving holiday, so if you are leaving Sunday, you may want to leave early.
Catching a flight, get to the airport at least 2 hours before boarding. And if you're traveling long distance by car,
break it up. Every 2 hours, get out of the vehicle, move around so that you're not falling asleep behind the wheel. Another underreported tragedy on our roadways.
I'm Kevin Barnhart.
Speaking of the holidays, during this time of the year, crime spikes across the country. Bossier City Police have some advice to keep you safe during this holiday season. The Armed Robbery Task Force warns not to shop alone or carry large amounts of cash. They also say not to post that you're leaving home on social media and to only donate to charities that you know are legitimate, as scammers will try to take advantage of your Christmas cheer. And what started out as a celebration at IHOP for busting out of jail ended in handcuffs. Authorities in Noonan, Georgia say an inmate fled the jail with the help of his mother, but police quickly began monitoring his phone calls and found out he and his mom had made arrangements to grab a meal at IHOP. Needless to say, the reunion didn't last long. Authorities descended on the restaurant and arrested the man and his mother. He's now charged with felony escape, and mom charged with aiding and abetting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
One 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. She's away today. So if I said Harvard football guy, you don't know what I'm talking about.
No clue.
Seriously, you didn't see the video on this.
Wait, are you talking about the game against Yale?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
This proves that just because you go to Harvard doesn't mean you're smart. Basically, Harvard guy, they're behind like 34-27, something like that, I forget. And it's Harvard running back. And he's running for a touchdown. He's going to make it. He's in. They're going to tie the score. It's a close game. He's going to be the hero. And literally, how many people watching on the stream right now? On the Facebook, on YouTube or Facebook? Because I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it, and I apologize in advance. So if you have kids watching on the stream, just move them away. Because the guy gets to the 2-yard line, and he turns around because right now in the NFL, it's a trend, even in college games, where the guy about to score a touchdown, and Tyreek Hill for Kansas City does it all the time.
Yeah.
And he turns around, and he kind of waves his fingers or like, no, you're not going to catch me.
Gives him the Matumbo.
Or yes. Well, that's not exactly what the Harvard guy did. Basically, at about the 2-yard line, with the Yale defensive backs in hot pursuit, but having no chance to catch him before he scores, he turns around mid-stride, and pardon me, I'm not going to do it. He flips him off. He literally, yes, that's what he did. And the referee, seeing that, because they're right there, threw a flag, cost them the touchdown, moved it back to the 17-yard line, because he called the point of the penalty at the 2. Mm-hmm. Moved it back to the 17. They eventually, on that drive, kicked a field goal. And I think they eventually won the game.
They did.
But I'm thinking, what? You go to Harvard, kid. What's going through your head? You're one of America's best and brightest. You graduate from that school, you'll never have to worry a day in your life about a job. What were you thinking?
At the end of the day, he's a meathead football player.
639, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. With 165 IQ. But you're right. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Watch out for patches of dense fog, and if you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're Tree to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
I'm just looking at all the notes for the day, and the one that intrigues me the most is don't wash raw poultry. And I saw that on TV last night.
I had it in the news.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin. She's gone till Monday. Why? Why shouldn't you wash raw poultry?
Because if you have what they're calling turkey water, it can spread disease and get people sick.
What's turkey water?
Whenever you wash your turkey in the sink or whatever, the fluid that comes out of the turkey with the water can
hazardous to one's health.
Yeah.
Really?
Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the story real
I
quick.
saw that, and it was all these turkey tips on TV, and it said, "Don't wash raw poultry," and I didn't understand why not.
Yeah, we had in the news from the LSU Ag Center, one of their food safety experts.
How do they say that?
Food safety expert.
Yes.
She says that you have to keep a good eye on the temperature because potential cold spots like under the wings could get you sick.
Yeah.
Turkey juice. That's what if you wash your turkey or you let it thaw on the counter, you'll get quote unquote turkey juice on the counter, which could spread salmonella or whatever.
Yeah. When my dad was still alive and he got lazy, like when he was about 90 or 91 or 92, he wouldn't ever wash the cutting board. And yeah, exactly. And I've only used that mayonnaise knife 3 times. Dad, I think I understand why you're not feeling too good today. If you spend a lot of time on social media and you just scroll on the Facebook news page, every now and then, and on mine there's a ton of them, there are news, and I say that in verbal italics or finger quotes, news stories that come up. And you look at it, and it's just made up stuff. I mean, it's just because it's so outrageous, and yet it so appeals to the most radicalized Democrats or Republicans that they're going to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I saw I'm not making this up, it was Trump burns Constitution after having sex with cheerleaders squealing Heil Hitler. And I thought, who would look at that headline and believe that? Okay, I told you that to tell you this. I saw a story yesterday on one of the guys who does those websites. And he gets up about like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. Just wait till the end of the story. Just wait. You are so missing an opportunity to retire at a youthful age. So this guy, he's got about 5 or 6 or 10 different fake news websites. And I wrote some of them down. It's like Media Minute, Weekly Observer, Need to Know, Digital Facts. It's very news-sounding websites. And he writes headlines, fake, and writes stories, fabricating them for, basically, this is his job. He makes up fake news, fake headlines, writes fake stories to appeal to the crazies on the ends of both political spectra. And I told you that to tell you this after I told you something else to tell you that. You know what his monthly income is?
I don't want to know.
$15,000 a month in advertising. He gets so many hits, so many views, so many 15,000, and these are legitimate advertisers that are backing this guy's nuttiness, insanity, lies, things he knows are lies. But he knows that there are enough people out there who lead normal, everyday, just average Joe or Josephine lives, but are so attracted to this and to some degree buy into it that there's all these big-time advertisers through the agencies that they look at the numbers. Look, we both know there's advertising agencies that do that. Most of them do. How many views am I going to get? What demographic am I going to get? Is that the target that I want for my product? Evidently, yes. $15,000 a month this guy's making on 6 or 8 fake news websites.
I don't want to sound mean.
Oh, go ahead.
But it's embarrassing, some of the things people believe. It's like going back, what was it, the stories that were going around, like Will Ferrell breaks down in Shreveport, says it has the greatest people ever.
We went through a stretch of that. The Will Ferrell, no, it was Taylor Swift was going to buy the Cross Lake house.
Yeah.
The Will Ferrell one was about a movie where he turned down a chance to make a movie here because he said, supposedly, can you imagine spending 90 days in Shreveport? No, it wasn't positive. And you see those all the time, and they get spread. And this guy is making $15,000. Let me read the headline to you again that I saw. Trump burns Constitution after having sex with cheerleader squealing Heil Hitler. And the guy wrote a story around it. He made up the headline. He wrote the story, and he's making $15,000 $4,000 plus, $3,000 plus dollars a week, making that stuff up.
It just amazes me that America hasn't learned its lesson yet. Remember back in, what was it, the 80s with Jerry Falwell and the Hustler article where people actually believed all the stuff that was written in that?
No, it's Weekly World News stuff.
It's all...
It literally is. Who remembers the Weekly World News and Bat Boy? Remember, that was their continuing character.
Bat Boy and Elvis.
Bat Boy meets Elvis in Clinton White House for Tryst with Monica. I mean, it was insane. I've told you this before.
I know.
The greatest. But everybody knew that was lies.
Apparently not everybody, because people are still believing the same ridiculous stuff.
The greatest weekly world news headline of all time. And this will never things. This is one I saw, and this is one of those things that is emblazoned, burned, branded into my mind forever. Do you remember what it was?
No,
do you remember?
But I think I remember looking up the headline and buying the T-shirt.
This is literally the greatest weekly world news headline of all time. Amazing four-armed man makes fortune as deodorant tester. I saw that and I'm thinking, I've got to buy this.
And I'm sure there was someone somewhere that
who
believed
thought that was true.
Yeah.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Your Money Now just ahead, presented by Barksdale Federal Credit Union. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got to clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near the Cross Lake Bridge due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're treated well to get the Weather Channel.
.17 FM, 710 Keel, 652. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. In the highest scoring Monday Night Football game in history and third highest scoring game in league history, the LA Rams nipped Kansas City 54-51. It's the first time ever that both teams scored 50 or more points in an NFL game as well. But not until former Chiefs cornerback Marcus Peters picked off Patrick Mahomes with under 20 seconds to play could the bulk of fans in the L.A. Coliseum relax. Jared Goff threw for 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Rams. Mahomes finished with 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he was picked off 3 times and fumbled twice. The Rams' Samson Ekubon had a pick 6, a scoop and score, and he hit Mahomes on the Chiefs' last gasp that caused the ball to flutter into Peter's arms. The Rams are now 10-1, while the Chiefs fall to 9-2. LSU cornerback Greedy Williams, a Calvary alum, has been named one of 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award presented to the nation's top defensive back. Former North Webster-Knight LSU junior linebacker Devin White is one of 5 finalists for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the top linebacker in college football. And LSU's Cole Tracy is one of 3 finalists for the Lou Groza Award, which goes to the college football top place kicker. All of these were announced on Monday. In men's hoops, Houston took care of Northwestern State 82-55. The Cougars closed the first half on an 11-2 run and opened the second half on a 14-2 spurt to put away the Demons. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
You don't have the text line on your side, do you?
I do not. I'm afraid to look, even
okay,
if I
see,
did have it.
I saw them, but I did not copy them. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, and Erin McCarty, if you've been listening since the top of the hour.
Oh, boy.
If you've been listening to since the top of the hour, Matt has a dilemma, and he decided he wanted to talk about this on the radio, and the Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884, and I mention that because he wants your advice. So we've got about 30 seconds before rush. In a simple declarative sentence, tell people, and we're not making this up, this is, I swear to you, we come on, we make stuff up sometimes because it's funny, but I promise you, he said looking sincerely into the camera, this is legit. Tell people what is your dilemma.
I double booked myself Friday night with dates for Willie Nelson.
How did that happen?
I have a bad memory, apparently.
No, I
asked one girl months ago. Then
Floyd said there are no accidents. Shreveport Security Systems text line: give the tickets to the girls. Let them go without you.
The hell with that. I'm going to the show. That's terrible advice.
Tell the truth. Take both. If they're good-hearted, they'll understand. No, there's a man of no experience at all.
What am I, Frank Sinatra?
656, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Rush.
On Sunday, the Tampa Bay Times ran a short column titled Winner and Loser of the Week in Florida Politics. There were 2 winners, Ron DeSantis, the incoming Republican governor, and current Republican Governor Rick Scott, who will soon become Florida's newest U.S. Senator. The loser of the week? Well, they say the Florida legislature. The Tampa Bay Times claims that the Republican-controlled legislature has been obsessed with preventing non-existent fraud while it should have been making elections more accessible, reliable, and safe from legal challenges. Now, make no mistake about this, folks. The biggest loser of the week in Florida politics was the Democrat Party. Andrew Gillum and Senator Bill Smiley Face Nelson were not supposed to lose, and yet they both did. In the process, the whole world witnessed Democrat election supervisors in Broward and Palm Beach counties brazenly trying to steal elections. Their shenanigans made the old Democrats of Cook County, Illinois, look like a bunch of pikers. But they still lost. And no amount of drive-by media spin can change that. And the resulting ongoing anger and outrage from the Democrats will continue.
Attention to this important announcement. If you have ever taken prescriptions like Adderall and are concerned about the side effects and high cost, now there's a new all-natural smart pill available that's the closest thing to a safe, real-life, limitless pill. It's so powerful and effective that students, athletes, and execs all want to get their hands on it. It's called Limitless, a Coastline product, and it's truly remarkable. It can help skyrocket your concentration, improve your creative thinking, enhance your memory, and make you feel like a better version of yourself. Call and find out how to get a free bottle of Limitless and experience this firsthand. It's not a question of whether this powerful pill works, but how great it can make you feel. Take it and watch it go to work. Limitless may be the best-kept secret available today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-630-7730. That's 800-630-7730. Free bottle for a limited time. Call now. 800-630-7730. 800-630-7730.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. Watch out for patches of dense fog, and if you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Here's your KEEL Weather Channel forecast. Less of a chance of rain today. In fact, it might not be too bad, but still kind of cool. Middle to upper 50s. Right now, 36 degrees at KEEL, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, 7 o'clock. Time for Fox News.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 101.7 FM, Shreveport.
Just after 7 o'clock, it's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin away today, back on Monday in the Erin chair. Matt has local news, and it's up next.
2 people died in Bossier last night after getting shot. We'll have some details on that. Officials are investigating a gas leak, and a grand jury in Bossier Parish makes 2 big indictments.
I told Matt, I said, you set it up, we'll do it. It's Shreveport History Day once again with Registrar of Voters Ernie Robertson and former Mayor Cedric Glover, and it means I don't have to do anything for an hour. And maybe they, being experienced, wise men of the world, will have advice for Matt on his dilemma.
I need it.
Yeah, you do. Or you need about maybe hospitalization is your best bet.
I need a body double.
Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, it's all coming up this hour, and it's here on Keel.
Information. KEEL News now.
A shooting in Bossier City leaves 2 dead. Investigators say 2 people were shot and killed Monday night at the Mirage Apartments on East Texas Street. Officials say they are investigating the crime as a homicide and that no other details will be released at this time. A grand jury in Bossier indicts man for murder. David Sanders has been indicted by a grand jury on the charge of second-degree murder. Sanders allegedly beat, stabbed, then dismembered Stephen Milner before tossing his remains in a dumpster. Both men lived at Cordova Court Apartments. Sanders faces life without parole if convicted. The grand jury also indicted a former Bossier Parish teacher on 12 counts of sexual misconduct with children. Aubrey Norcross, a former teacher and coach at Benton Elementary School, faces several serious charges, including first-degree rape, video voyeurism, and 8 counts of molestation of a juvenile. The victims in these crimes were all under 12 years old, and some of the attacks allegedly happened on the Benton Elementary School campus. He also faces life in jail without the possibility of parole. Law enforcement officials investigate South Bossier gas leak. Members of the state police with Bossier Police and Fire are investigating a possible gas leak at a Shell station on the corner of Jimmy Davis Highway and Barksdale Boulevard. Hazmat teams were on the scene late last night investigating the smell of gas. While not a lot of details were given, investigators say there is no threat to the public. If you're roasting a bird this Thursday, an LSU Ag Center food safety expert has some key safety tips to follow. Matt Doyle has that.
First, you need to start defrosting it in the fridge today so you don't have to sit it out and defrost it on the countertop, potentially spreading contamination from turkey water. Then make sure you bake that bird to 165 all over, and when people are done eating it,
Put the leftover in the fridge. Don't wait until the end of the day. So we're talking about 2 hours.
and keep an eye on the kids while you're in the kitchen.
So you want to make sure don't let the kids lick the raw cookie dough or lick the cake batter, because we have seen a lot of those outbreaks too.
I'm Matt Doyle.
Speaking of the holidays, during this time of the year, crime spikes across the country. Bossier police have some advice to keep you safe during this holiday season. The Armed Robbery Task Force warns not to shop alone or carry large amounts of cash. They also say not to post that you're leaving home on social media and to only donate to charities that you know are legitimate, as scammers will try to take advantage of your Christmas cheer. And the 8th-ranked LSU Tigers look for their 8th straight win over Texas A&M when the 2 teams meet on Saturday night in College Station. The Aggies are 7-4, and they rank number 1 in the SEC in defending the run. But Coach Ed Orgeron says he wants a balanced offensive attack against A&M.
We have to find a way to run the football. We just can't drop back and throw it. That's not what we do. But obviously, the play action pass, the protection is going to have to be excellent. They have some great rushers. We have to pick and choose our time where we go deep. Obviously, we have to hit some deep balls and use the tight end like we've been using the tight end, spread the ball around. I know Steve's going to have a great plan.
You can listen to the game Saturday night on our sister station, 1130 The Tiger, KWKH. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
One 1017 FM and 710 Keel, 9 past 7 o'clock. Traffic update now for Tuesday. Ruben's ready.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. Richard Wettig at the Weather Channel.
1017 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. We decided to do. In fact, I said to Matt yesterday, Registrar of Voters Ernie Robertson is here. And we're waiting on former Mayor Cedric Glover. And I said to Matt yesterday, because he loves our Shreveport History Days. Not our Shreveport History Days. You two guys, well, Cedric, when he gets here doing Shreveport history, he loves that more than anything.
I do.
And tell me why. Tell me why.
It's just so fascinating. I love to learn about the city I live in, and these guys, every time they come in, tell at least one or two stories that I've never heard before and probably will never hear anywhere else.
Well, not only that you've never heard before, but that are absolutely astonishing stories. And what Matt wanted you guys to talk about a little bit in a couple of minutes when we get into the meat, the beef, as it were, or the raw poultry of our conversation, is the old bloody Shreveport stories that you told about last time. But before we do...
Is this the wrestling match?
No, Sad. when what's the guy's name on TV? And he did the report a couple of days, and it was kind of... He had done, and I apologize, I can't think of his name now, and he had done the report about the $5 billion project for the fairgrounds, right? The 85,000-seat stadium, blah, blah, blah. And in the report, he had said that in their prospectus to the city, what was it called? It was it API, APS, something like that? I can't
ASI.
ASI, thank you. That they had said in reference to Hirsch Coliseum, that was where Elvis said, or it was first said, rather, by Frank Page, or I guess Elvis has left the building. And he on TV corrected them. He said, no, it was at Municipal Auditorium. Well, it turns out that's one of Shreveport's little twists, that it was, in fact, at Hirsch Coliseum where Elvis first said that. Now, I felt bad for the guy because he's getting roasted over a mistake that anybody could make, because it's most people think it was Municipal Auditorium. But I wanted to talk about Elvis to start, but not you talking about Elvis and Shreveport, but Matt talking about Elvis and Shreveport. Do you know what the term paraplaxis means?
I don't think I've ever had that disease, but I mean...
What paraplaxis is, it is an emotional, correct me if I'm wrong here, Parky, an emotional inability to say or do something because you literally are overwhelmed by the power of those words or that deed. Is that pretty close?
Yeah, it's basically a Freudian slip. It's the technical term. Parapraxis is the technical...
Parapraxis, thank you.
But it's basically a Freudian slip, and the theory is that you either slip up and say things or have an inability to complete a thought due to your, stuff going on in your subconscious.
Now, what does that have to do with Elvis?
Yeah, I'd love to hear this story.
Evidently, Elvis, in live performances, was unable to do the oral part, the spoken part of "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" And how many times there are live performances? You know the story. Go ahead.
I believe there are 12 recorded versions of Elvis doing "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" and he screws up in every single one of them. And a lot of them are just terrible. Like they have nicknames on the internet: Laughing Elvis, Crying Elvis,
There's a
Hysterical
Elvis.
Elvis.
Yeah, this is legit.
But basically, this Oxford study came out of, it's called 12 Ways to Say Lonesome, assessing the errors and control in the music of Elvis Presley, that breaks down basically all of his mistakes, because he recorded "Are You Lonesome Tonight" as soon as he got back from the Army. So that was, 60s? And he played it all the way through the end of his career, and he screwed up every single time. So they do the psychological breakdown of
why?
Of why, because through bits of interviews with Priscilla, who gives some insight into Elvis's personal life versus accounts of the death of his mother and all that, and ties it all together of basically the lyrics in the bridge of "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" talks about a guy being lonely, and that was Elvis, and so mentally he just could not get through that portion of the song.
And then you listen to it, I mean, all the Las Vegas versions, all those, with James Burton in the back. In fact, we talked about if James Burton if he ever comes back on, the perfect question to ask. Why did Elvis always screw up Are You Lonesome Tonight? And I guess there's 12 or 13, like you said, recorded versions.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many more that people make reference to that he literally could not get through the spoken word part of that song.
Okay, I'll go for it. It dealt with his mother.
I guess. I know.
Yes, it dealt with his mother. That would be my belief. Having just read a little bit about the Elvis link to his mother and how important she was in his life and the things that he always attributed to his mother, then I would say that's probably coming back to him somewhere.
Well, to some degree, and I don't mind it. There are still songs I can't listen to, or movies I cannot watch, or things that are related to broken up relationships that I just avoid. So I would imagine, but see, you can avoid those. Oh, that song's on the radio. I'm punching it out. Oh, that movie's on tonight. I'm not getting near that.
But this is on his playlist. This is on the playlist.
This is on the set list for every performance of your life.
You know what the most fascinating thing is? He never got it right after playing it for 15 years, yet he never took it out of the set list.
And screwed it up almost every
night.
Every time. Coughing Elvis, laughing Elvis. What was the other one? Crying Elvis. There was somewhere
hysterical Elvis, where he just starts rambling while the backup singers are going, and he's just going off.
We'll send you the link for that later. It is. What's the name of the website again?
Well, the podcast that covers it in depth is called Revisionist History, but it's based off of a study from Oxford called 12 Ways to Say Lonesome. So I'll send you both the article and the podcast.
And it's like 25 or 30 minutes, and you listen and go, damn, he never got that right anymore. Go to break. Registrar of Voters Ernie Robertson is here. Shreveport History Day. When we come back, Matt has questions about bloody Shreveport. Shreveport was a Wild West city. And you said you have, what is it, the ultimate Shreveport question? Is that how you phrased it?
Well, I think it's right in there with it.
Is it as good as Elvis screwing up lyrics?
Well, I've got one about Elvis.
Really? Wow, do that when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on North Market near North Hearn Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Spur in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're Trina Weddick at the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. In the highest scoring Monday Night Football game in history and third highest scoring game in league history, the LA Rams nipped Kansas City 54-51. It's the first time ever that both teams scored 50 or more points in an NFL game as well. But not until former Chiefs cornerback Marcus Peters picked off Patrick Mahomes with under 20 seconds to play could the bulk of fans in the LA Coliseum relax. Jared Goff threw for 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Rams. Mahomes finished with 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he was picked off 3 times and fumbled twice. The Rams' Samson Ekubon had a pick 6, a scoop and score, and he hit Mahomes on the Chiefs' last gasp that caused the ball to flutter into Peter's arms. The Rams are now 10-1, while the Chiefs fall to 9-2. LSU cornerback Greedy Williams, a Calvary alum, has been named one of 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award presented to the nation's top defensive back. Former North Webster Knight, LSU junior linebacker Devin White is one of 5 finalists for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the top linebacker in college football. And LSU's Cole Tracy is one of 3 finalists for the Lou Groza Award, which goes to the college football top place kicker. All of these were announced on Monday. In men's hoops, Houston took care of Northwestern State 82-55. The Cougars closed the first half on an 11-2 run and opened the second half on a 14-2 spurt to put away the Demons. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. Registrar of Voters Ernie Robertson is here to talk about, well, you are to a great degree, I'm not going to say the official Shreveport historian, but you know what originally got you so interested in that? Not only the history of your own lifetime, but going back to the late 19th century, even before that a little bit.
The 1940 tornado.
Seriously?
I lived on Queens Highway growing up.
Okay, so you were born in 40...
No, I was born in 50.
See, I was born in 52. Okay, so tell me about this tornado that I don't know about. See, we moved here in 67.
Yeah, the 40 tornado was one of my 2 legends that I've carried with me of lore, and it was due to the fact that our neighbor actually lived through it. He wasn't in the house because he got blown away. But the 1940 tornado started out past the fairgrounds. First person killed in the tornado, Tandy Key Giddens, Giddens Lane building.
Yeah.
And then went to the fairgrounds, tore up the grandstand, several other buildings. I hear it destroyed the old wooden roller coaster that was there. Nobody really remembers it, but anyway, it got destroyed. I don't know if it's true.
There used to be a roller coaster.
Oh, it's a huge wooden roller coaster built by Billy Hirsch. Yeah, the Hirsch Coliseum guy.
Seriously.
And then popped over to the corner of Portland at Queens Highway, our house that we'd later move into in like 53. Our house was the smallest house on that block. It was easy to determine, but it was the second house on the right, and it blew the roof off of us, destroyed the house next door, which is where Pop Ludlow lived. Across the street, another house was destroyed, and that's where 2 people were killed, and their daughter was literally sucked out of the house. They all were. And the mom and dad were killed, and the daughter lived. And then went on up the street and then landed around Centenary and then killed 5 people at the entrance to what would become known as Anderson Island, which was actually a tank farm about that time.
Did you have any idea? Had you ever heard this story before?
No.
Neither had I.
Yeah, it destroyed the Centenary Stadium, if my memory is correct.
Wait, there was a stadium at Centenary?
Yes, there was a football stadium.
Now, I knew that in the early 20th century, not a lot of folks know this, in the early 20th century, Centenary was, in fact, a national football power.
Yes.
Into like the late teens, early 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
that Centenary was, I mean, they were up there with Army and Navy and all of the old school East Coast powerhouses. And Centenary would play them all the time. I knew that. Where was their stadium? I don't know this.
It's basically where the baseball park is.
On the other side of the road.
Right. It's across from the Gold Dome is about where it was located, and that was actually the original location of what.
Now, what year was this built?
When was it built?
Yeah.
It's going to be built after World War I. So it's in the 20s, early 20s.
Are there photos of this?
I believe there are photos. I'm trying to think back if I have one, but I believe there are photos of it.
In fact, it occurs to me that in that era, when Centenary was a football power, as odd as it seems to people, it just popped into my head. I think the coach's name, was it McMillan, Bo McMillan?
One of them was Jake Hanna. I know that.
Who had been like I don't know if the Heisman Trophy existed then, but early in the 20th century, he had played for Yale and was considered like the best player in the country. And he ended up maybe in 15, 18, 20, I don't know all the numbers, but ended up coaching at Centenary when they were like the Alabama of a previous time. I mean, Centenary was a football stud there for a while.
Yeah, they were playing Rice and Arkansas, and I mean, in this era,
I think they played in the Cotton Bowl a couple of times.
They may have. I never have researched it deeply, but
do you have any idea or any recollection of what the seating capacity of the Centenary Football Stadium that was demolished when? When did it come down?
I think it was 1940 tornado took it out.
Seriously? I'm trying to think how many it would have seated at that, maybe 5,000, 10,000 or more.
Maybe I would think it would be that many because I only have a vague memory of what it looked like. It got mentioned in a news report.
Lights, maybe? Did it have lights?
No, I doubt it. I would doubt lights at that point.
Yeah.
For Shreveport. But that's where I got interested because I kept hearing all the tales of it. And for years I carried that and the 54 plane crash around in my memory for things that I heard. And that's how I wound up being interested in history.
I bet Matt doesn't know about the 54 plane crash either. We'll talk about that when we get back. And you have your Shreveport question. Ernie Robertson, Registrar of Voters. Always great to have Shreveport History Day. Stuff you never heard of about where you live. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Local news is just ahead right now. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. Richard DeWettig at the Weather Channel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A shooting in Bossier City leaves 2 dead. Investigators say 2 people were shot and killed Monday night at the Mirage Apartments on East Texas Street. Officials say they are investigating the crime as a homicide and that no other details will be released at this time. Law enforcement officials investigate South Bossier gas leak. Members of the state police with Bossier Police and Fire are investigating a possible gas leak at the Shell station on the corner of Jimmy Davis Highway and Barksdale Boulevard. Hazmat teams were on the scene late last night investigating the smell of gas. While not a lot of details were given, investigators say there is no threat to the public. A grand jury in Bossier indicts man for murder. David Sanders has been indicted by a grand jury on the charge of second-degree murder. Sanders allegedly beat, stabbed, and dismembered Stephen Milner before tossing his remains in a dumpster. Both men lived at Cordova Court Apartments. Sanders faces life without parole if convicted. The grand jury also indicted a former Bossier Parish teacher on 12 counts of sexual misconduct with children. Aubrey Norcross, a former teacher and coach at Benton Elementary School, faces several serious charges, including first-degree rape, video voyeurism, and 8 counts of molestation of a juvenile. The victims in these crimes were all under 12 years old, and some of the attacks allegedly happened on the Benton Elementary School campus. He faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Cattle Commission considers stiffening animal cruelty ordinance. The ordinance would add protection for pets left outside in temps below 32 degrees. After debating the issue during Monday's work session, the commission decided to send the proposal to the Animal Services Committee for further discussion. AAA is forecasting the number of travelers for Thanksgiving to be the highest since 2005. Kevin Barnhart has that story.
I think that it's just a better economy. People are feeling more confident.
With that positive outlook, spokesperson for AAA, Don Redmond, says people are traveling more this Thanksgiving than they have in many years. He says Sunday will likely be the day to see the most travel congestion.
The bulk of travelers are all returning from their Thanksgiving holiday, so if you are leaving Sunday, you may want to leave early.
Catching a flight, get to the airport at least 2 hours before boarding. And if you're traveling long distance by car,
break it up. Every 2 hours, get out of the vehicle, move around so that you're not falling asleep behind the wheel. Another underreported tragedy on our roadways.
I'm Kevin Barnhart.
Speaking of the holidays, during this time of the year, crime spikes across the country. Bossier City Police have some advice to keep you safe during this holiday season. The Armed Robbery Task Force warns not to shop alone or carry large amounts of cash. They also say not to post that you're leaving home on social media and to only donate to charities that you know are legitimate, as scammers will try to take advantage of your Christmas cheer. And what started out as a celebration at IHOP for busting out of jail ended in handcuffs. Authorities in Noonan, Georgia say an inmate fled the jail with the help of his mother, but police quickly began monitoring his phone calls and found out he and his mom had made arrangements to grab a meal at IHOP. Needless to say, the reunion didn't last long. Authorities descended on the restaurant and arrested the man and his mother. He's now charged with felony escape, and mom charged with aiding and abetting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 23 away, 23 before 8 o'clock. Registrar of Voters Ernie Robertson is here. No, Shreveport historian Ernie Robertson is here. We were just talking. We've known each other like 40-something years. That's crazy.
Long time.
Yeah. Yeah. How old are you now? 60?
68.
And I'm 31. How did that work out like that? It's like miraculous.
I don't know. It's amazing to me. It's just,
In a couple of seconds, you're going to tell the 1954 plane crash story, which is it fair to say changed Shreveport history? Is that a fair assumption? Is that going out on a limb?
That's what many people believe. And I mean, there's some evidence that it did.
But first, before we go to break, I want you to ask your Shreveport question. Is it kind of an Elvis question? What is it? Because you've been teasing me for about 35 minutes now.
I think I forgot it by now.
No. No. You're not.
I wrote down the part for the Elvis question, but I didn't write down. Actually, what I want to know is who actually has the definitive answer on the person who gave us the great branding statement, Shreveport, USA, a city on the grow. Now, it's not Jim Leslie. We know that. This is before he came along.
What year did that
This is
come
early
in?
60s.
Really?
By 62, I believe we're actually seeing the bumper stickers. And it pops up about the time that Shreveport, Russell Long gets reelected, and Clyde Fan is mayor. And along in that era, about the time we're getting the announcement for what's going to become Western Electric. It's in that period that Shreveport, USA, a city on the grow, pops up as our brand.
Right.
And I have yet to find somebody that can give me a definitive answer other than, well, it's Chamber of Commerce.
Who originated
but who came up with this idea that has stuck around for more than 50 years?
Can you put that up on Facebook?
Well, Facebook's having some issues this morning, but I will certainly try.
And we do have the Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. Go to break. When we get back, more with Ernie and the 1954 plane crash. And if we have time, a little ancient Shreveport history, middle to late 19th century, gunfights and stuff like that. That doesn't sound that long ago, does it? But traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on North Spring Street near East Stoner Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, 19 before 8 o'clock. Shreveport historian Ernie Robertson is here. Can you do the Elvis story you just told in about like 90 seconds to 2 minutes? Because that to me, I'd never heard that. Had you?
No.
And Matt's a big Elvis guy. Okay. You said a second ago, do you know what an Isetta is?
Right, an Isetta, and it's a very small car from the 1950s that had the front door opened, and when it did, you were sitting there, the steering wheel was mounted to the door.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch American Pickers, you know Mike Wolf is crazy about Isettas, and he buys them. And so I ran across a picture of Elvis's first tour, supposedly.
Right.
DJ Fontana's book. DJ wrote a book, and I happen to have a copy of it. And there's on towing behind this big Cadillac that they used, which I found out from Tillman Franks. Oh, yeah, they had a Cadillac, but he didn't loan it to him. But anyway, towing in the back on a wooden trailer is an Isetta, and Shreveport did have an Isetta dealer.
What?
but I think that was later on. I found that picture in a Fair Park yearbook.
So
but
this
I think
is a
that's
car
58.
that's about the size. You said it was egg-shaped. I
Yeah,
remember
it's about the
it.
size of this table, probably.
I remember it now that you mention it.
It's German. And it was one of those cars that never quite caught on. But anyway, the concept was
hard to
there.
believe.
Yeah, concept was there for this car. And so
Elvis owned an Isetta.
Elvis is out on tour, and they're towing an Isetta. And the only person who would know probably the answer would be DJ Fontana, who unfortunately has passed
Whatever
on.
happened to it.
Yeah, what happened to the Isetta, and why were they towing it around?
Plane crash of 54. A lot of people know that, but a lot of people don't. Do you know anything about this?
Very little, very little.
And you said, in the minds of many, this changed the direction, the future of our city. Was it 54 or 56?
54.
Okay,
54,
go ahead.
January
Tell me about
10th. It's just a few days, really just a little over a week after a local television station, our first one, had opened. And so what happened was it was a group of invited folks who had gone to a duck hunt south of Lake Charles, Louisiana, courtesy of United Gas, which was the largest gas company, not only in Shreveport, but in the
It used to
Southwest.
be there at the corner of Fairfield and Jordan. Was that their original building, by the way? Were they always
Yes.
there? Or okay,
Yeah,
so
that was where they moved to. They were originally downtown.
Okay.
And so that's where they were. N.C. McGowan, of course, was the president of it. And everybody was invited. This was the Shreveport Uppity Ups. I mean, we're talking about the two Quirby's brothers, unfortunately, are on this plane. And then also you had Reginald Hargrove, and I'm trying to get these all out of my memory, as well, and people like that ran Atlas Processing. And the Atkins, one of the Atkins was on the plane. I'm doing this without notes, so you can tell I'm not doing that great. But there were 6 locals who were on there who were the power elite, if you want to say that. But also on the plane was Thomas Braniff Airlines. But also on the plane was another gentleman who was a friend of his from Nebraska, who is referred to, his name will come to me. I'm having one of those blocks. It will come to me. But he was the richest man in Nebraska and owned a regional airline.
And this happened, so they were
January
coming,
10th, 1954.
They were
coming
coming
back.
into
They were coming back from Lake Charles, actually South Creole, Louisiana is where they were.
Right.
And they're coming back, and they hit a patch, an ice formation at about 4,000 feet, and they're flying in what is known as basically a plane that an amphibious plane that can land on water. The man who was flying it was incredibly skilled, and they hit the ice, and they totally ice over. And his last statement to the tower was, "I'm going in." Now, he didn't call a mayday, and he wasn't excited on the tape. They noticed, they pointed that out to the Fort Worth tower when they started saying what happened to the plane. And the plane crashed at the edge of Wallace Lake and didn't make it back to Shreveport. And all 12 people were killed.
What time of day was this?
This was right at dusk. It's right past or right before sunset. It's right in that time frame. I went out and looked at what the sun would be like on that particular day, just to try to come up with an assertion of what it was like. And it is a dusky type of day, but they were able to see. He said, I see the trees up ahead of me. He hit trees coming in. The great thing was we had photographic evidence from Langston McEachin. Jack Barham went with us out there and looked at the site. And then we had some, Terry Atwood had some photo clips from J. Frank McEnany's collection. And it was part of my childhood because I'd heard the story all of my life. As always, I told a couple of presentations, every time that a group of men would talk about that, they'd always put their heads down there, shake their head. Those were good men. They did so much. And, I mean, there was a reverence for them, all the men that were killed.
You had mentioned jumping back about 100 years. And you and Cedric had talked last time you were here, maybe it was a couple of times ago. We got about 3.5 or 4 minutes. About an era of Shreveport that was called Bloody Shreveport. And this goes back to, what, the 1870s or 80s, when we were literally a Wild West town. Matt is infatuated. He talked every time we talk about having you or Cedric or as a duo coming in. That's what he wants to hear about. More stories about that era of Shreveport. Tell us about a little bit about that era, and then There was a hotel called what?
Catfish Hotel.
The Catfish Hotel.
Yeah, and this story actually comes from a young man who writes it later about his first impressions of Shreveport, and he talks about this is going to be around 1850-ish, and maybe 52.
So
it's
this
in
is
that
pre-Civil
range.
War.
It's pre-Civil War,
okay.
And the Catfish Hotel was basically down on the riverfront, and it was pretty much the only hotel in town. And so he said he was on like the second floor, and he's looking out the window, and a man comes running out and turns and is gunned down in the street, just like Old West style, gunned down in the street and killed. And that was his hello, welcome to Shreveport moment. And I know of another case where a dentist got mad at a fellow who was a bully. Gary Joyner's told this story several times, but he got mad at, and this was on basically on Texas Street. And he walks into we had a lot of bars at that time. He walks into the bar, as the story is told, and shoots the guy in the back of the head. And the ruling of the district attorney at that time was justifiable homicide. So,
I might have leaned towards suicide, but
it was. I mean, it was.
If folks want to find out more about this era of the city, where would they go? What is your source of all this? Especially now in this digital age, but you got into this way before there was the internet.
Well, yeah, and I would go back to the books written about Shreveport, and some of them are pretty thick to get through as far as reading material. The 1850 K. Jeter book on Shreveport is one of the best, but you've got to want to read that because it's a very involved. Yeah. It's a very involved book, and then also anything Eric Brock wrote. Is always.
What year did he pass away? Did he late 90s?
Yeah, six years ago now.
Was it
somewhere in that?
Now who's getting old? Yeah. Anyway, we got a text via the Shreveport Security Systems text line about centenary football, specifically centenary in the early 20th century being a national football power, and it said in 1932, Centenary beat LSU 6-0. More with Ernie just a couple of seconds away. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, your money now is just seconds away. Brought to us by Barksdale Federal Credit Union. .107 FM 710 KEEL 752. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. In the highest scoring Monday Night Football game in history and third highest scoring game in league history, the LA Rams nipped Kansas City 54-51. It's the first time ever that both teams scored 50 or more points in an NFL game as well. but not until former Chiefs cornerback Marcus Peters picked off Patrick Mahomes with under 20 seconds to play could the bulk of fans in the L.A. Coliseum relax. Jared Goff threw for 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions for the Rams. Mahomes finished with 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, but he was picked off 3 times and fumbled twice. The Rams' Samson Ekubon had a pick 6, a scoop and score, and he hit Mahomes on the Chiefs' last gasp that caused the ball to flutter into Peters' arms. The Rams are now 10-1, while the Chiefs fall to 9-2. LSU cornerback Greedy Williams, a Calvary alum, has been named one of 3 finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award presented to the nation's top defensive back. Former North Webster Knight, LSU junior linebacker Devin White is one of 5 finalists for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the top linebacker in college football. And LSU's Cole Tracy is one of 3 finalists for the Lou Groza Award, which goes to the college football top place kicker. All of these were announced on Monday. In men's hoops, Houston took care of Northwestern State 82-55. The Cougars closed the first half on an 11-2 run and opened the second half on a 14-2 spurt to put away the Demons. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So what have you learned this hour, little Parky?
God, a lot.
What was your favorite one?
The Elvis story was kind of fun. But just learning about the Centenary Stadium and that they had this awesome football team that were just world beaters.
I'm going to post that later. Yeah, they were a national. People don't know. I mean, it's like 1920, 25, 30. They were a national power. I asked Ernie a second ago, Registrar of Voters, Shreveport historian Ernie Robertson. And I said, when you were growing up as a kid, what was your favorite restaurant? And you said, well, the only place we ever went was
El Chico on Greenwood Road, because my parents, when they first came to Shreveport from Vivian, they actually lived at the Alamo Plaza across the street and watched it being built.
Yeah.
I believe it was Albert Cuellar was the Cuellar that built it. He lived in the back, and I believe the permit for it was $4,500 to build it.
Oh, what I'd give for one more night at Abe's.
And what was there?
You mean
before it was built?
Oh, at the El Chico on Greenwood?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't begin to tell you.
Shreveport's largest mini-golf course that also had, this is no joke, also had an archery range. I don't think that would go together. Can you get him off the 13?
Happy birthday, Matt. Here's your jarts. Ernie, a pleasure as always, my friend. Great to see you. Great to see you. Getting younger every day, buddy. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Both parties absolutely positively, they need monitors in every state, in every precinct, in every voting place, in every area where the votes are cast ahead of time, be it mail-in or absentee. They've got to be able to monitor them, and they've got to be able to follow where they go. And they've got to know that there are no opportunities for unscrupulous people to mess around with the vote. The vote in this country's got to be sacrosanct. And watching every year what happens in Broward County, I have no faith, hope, confidence at all that that system is in any way working for the American people and the rest of Florida.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 'tis the season for more, and that means more shopping online. That means more booking of travel. That means more using sketchy websites to find the perfect gift, and all that activity while using your devices. Well, it could expose more of your personal information. And by the way, if that information ends up in the hands of those cyber criminals, well, you could have a much bigger problem than an online store running out of the gift that you promised somebody. Now, good thing there's LifeLock with Norton Security. Well, they're going to help your holidays stay happy. LifeLock helps protect threats to your identity, like someone opening accounts in your name. Norton Security protects your devices against cyber threats like malware. And of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor every single transaction at every single business. Get LifeLock with Norton Security, and you're going to get the most comprehensive protection for your identity and your devices. Just go to LifeLock.com, promo code Hannity, get an extra 10% off your first year, plus a $25 Amazon gift card with your annual enrollment. Terms apply.
Get news, weather, traffic, right here. Breaking news and trending talk is on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're true to weather, get the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Just a little past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Miss Erin away for the week. So Matt has local news up next.
Some grand juries in Bossier Parish make some big indictments. We'll have that. We'll have some info on a shooting last night in Bossier City, plus some holiday tips that you need to hear.
It's a question that, I mean, it keeps coming up. I don't think there's anything to it, but the question is Adrian Perkins a Republican plant? That's what people want you to believe, at least some. So we thought we'd get to the source. Caddo Parish Republican Party Chairman Louis Avalone in just a couple of seconds. That's what we will discuss. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather. It's all coming up this hour, and it's here on Keel.
Hazmat teams were on.
10 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL traffic update. Ruben's ready.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. What? Erin is gone for Thanksgiving week. She'll be back on Monday. KEEL app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Don't forget. Free app presented by Office Furniture Source. Sounds awesome. Yes, Matt?
Well, just before we get started with our guest, we've been getting a lot of questions on the Facebook page and comments that I can't respond to because Facebook's having some glitches this morning. So I'm not ignoring you. We literally just can't respond.
And we do need, before the hour is over, to discuss once again your dilemma and seek advice. Yeah. I know you hadn't planned on it perhaps this late in the morning when everybody's up, everybody's functioning. We mentioned it earlier in the hour, or earlier in the show. But yes, it is a dilemma that bears repeating. And one that many men, including an episode, I think, of Leave It to Beaver, you and Wally Cleaver now have something in common, my friend.
Oh, boy.
You moral slugs, you. The chairman of the Caddo Parish Republican Party, Louis Avalone, is here. And I texted you yesterday afternoon, wanted to talk about it. You've heard this theory, right?
Oh, of course.
You have heard
sure.
this. Here, let me read to you the original text that came on the heels of the Cedric Glover Facebook post that had to do with, well, Trump voters are going to vote for Perkins, and everybody hates Trump, so why would you vote for Perkins? And then I got this. I mean, that was the conclusion I drew from Cedric's comments. And Matt said, no, it might be a little more nuanced than that.
Right.
And we all know Cedric. He is capable. He's, no matter what you think about his politics, agree or disagree, you cannot disagree with his degree of intellect. And sometimes he is capable of being in your face, and sometimes he's capable of incredible subtlety. And Matt said, maybe he's a little more subtle here, little Bobby, than you realize.
All right.
So then we got this. I told Matt he was just full of BS. And then we got this text. I think Glover might also be referring to the fact that it was a group of Republicans. Let us point out once again, you are chairman of the Caddo Parish Republican Party. I think Glover might be referring to the fact that it was a group of Republicans who brought Perkins here to run in the first place. Let's start with that first sentence. Is that a fact?
The fact that the Republican Party brought Adrian Perkins.
A group of Republicans.
Okay, well, first, let's do just a couple of...
can you give me just a no?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You mean you can't give me a no, or you can?
No. The Caddo Parish Republican Party did not recruit Adrian Perkins.
What do you think they mean by group of Republicans? I'm not trying to squeeze you here. I just wonder.
No.
I'm so fascinated by this, and I'm sure you are too.
But I think it's important to distinguish between registered Republican voters, or the actions of registered Republican voters, and the actions of the Caddo Parish Republican Party, because they are
two separate entities.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So to the extent that there are registered Republican voters and or registered Democrat voters who came together.
Let me rephrase the question then.
Certainly.
Do you suspect, do you know whether or not it was a group of moneyed and influential Republicans outside the aegis of the Caddo Parish Republican Party who said, you know, we can't get a white Republican elected. Maybe we could get a black Democrat elected. Is he sort of a Manchurian candidate? Is he a plant? Is Adrian Perkins a plant by a bunch of rich Republicans here in Caddo Parish?
Well, I think you go back to February 22nd at the Petroleum Club party that was held in Adrian Perkins' honor. There was a local media outlet that attempted to go there, and they were thrown out of the meeting.
Pardon me, I've seen that video. I'm not sure thrown out is.
Well, they were ushered out.
Well, they were pretty.
And so to answer your question, in the video, the portions of the video that were made public, I didn't see anyone in that room that I would consider to be regular attending Republican Party types that come to the luncheons, that participate regularly in party activities, volunteer their time to recruit or to educate voters. So when you look at that and you look at that secret meeting, yeah, there were people in there that may have come together to bring Adrian Perkins to Shreveport, but we just don't know.
But if they were the ones who were behind the Perkins movement, then he certainly wouldn't be having to ask them for money in a public setting, would he?
Well, I don't know. It could have been, obviously, this was to raise more money by a group of people. But again, these are all we're somewhat speculating, obviously, but I think you have to look at first, what is a plant? You ask the question, what is a plant? Well, a plant is someone that is put in place in order to mislead or to function secretly. And so who is Adrian Perkins functioning for secretly? That's your question, right?
My question is he functioning secretly for someone, i.e. moneyed Republicans in Shreveport?
I think that the group of folks who he is functioning for, if in fact that is the appropriate characterization, are Republicans and Democrats alike.
Odd you would mention that. Back to the text. I think Glover might also be referencing the fact that it was a group of Republicans who brought Perkins here to run in the first place, in cooperation with the usual old guard Shreveport Democrat leadership types. Who is the usual old guard Shreveport Democrat leadership types?
I think they are the folks, and again...
my first thought would be the Greg Tarver types. Is that unfair?
I don't know that he would be exclusive with respect to being characterized in that way. I think certainly people think of him. He has certainly served the community in elected office for many, many years. I think you all consider him to be a very powerful and influential leader in our community. But I think there are many others behind the scenes.
Well, if we continue to extrapolate what this text says, then there seems to be some sort of union, some sort of treaty, some sort of deal made between powerful Republicans and, according to the text, powerful Democrats who decided, we need to bring a guy in we can get elected. What would be that deal? You know what? I'm going to ask the question. We'll go to break. You can answer when we get back. What would be the common ground between, the text refers to, powerful Republicans, and old guard Shreveport Democrats? What would be the common ground, the common thread that would make them come together and go searching for a mayoral candidate? 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, 19 past 8 o'clock. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on North Spring Street near East Stoner Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're Trina Weddick at the Weather Channel.
.1017 FM 710 KEEL. Here's Fletch Sports Update.
Good morning from the Sports Desk.
And Erin gone till Monday. Caddo Parish Republican Party Chairman Louis Avalone is here. Okay, let's start from scratch. Here we go. The text I got last week. I think Glover, meaning Cedric Glover,
Right.
might be referring in a Facebook post, blah, 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 to the fact that a group of Republicans outside the aegis and or authority, let's make that clear because you did in the last segment, outside the aegis of the Caddo Parish Republican Party, a group of Republicans who brought Adrian Perkins here to run in the first place, in cooperation with the usual old guard Shreveport Democrat types. If that's true, A, do you think that is true, that there is some sort of politics makes strange bedfellows? Do you think in this case that there is a group of moneyed Republicans, and you know who the moneyed Republicans are, so I think you would know if that were true? Is there some sort of union between moneyed, influential Republicans and old guard Shreveport Democrats to find the perfect candidate, and in this case, Adrian Perkins? In other words, you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't think it has anything to do with political party. I think people who do not have the city's best interest in mind could care less about someone's political affiliation. All they really care about is control and power and continuing the status quo. And so to the extent that there are people in this city, in any city, that come together to work together to get a candidate into office that they believe that they will have some influence, should not be a surprise to folks. So yes, I do think that there are folks that are out there, but whether they're registered Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or no party, I don't really think that affects the outcome.
How did these two diverse groups come together of conservatives and old school liberals? And I mean, you would think these would be the last two groups that would ever see eye to eye on anything, much less especially a mayoral candidate.
I think whomever we're talking about.
Well, in the text, we're talking about moneyed Republicans, influential Republicans, and old Shreveport's old line liberal Democrats.
But I think the person who wrote the text is looking at it from the perspective that many Republicans did break to Adrian Perkins. And insofar as they did, I guess there's the implication that it may be some, organization of Republicans that came together to do this. But again, I don't think that this is along partisan lines. This is along power lines.
But if you have people of different political ideologies who see the city going who see that the city should go in different directions, what would bring these two together?
You're assuming that they have the best interest of the city at heart and not their own personal interests.
In other words, are you telling me that their interests are more monetary than ideological and or political?
I think that would be a fair assessment. But again, let's go back to the fact that the whole reason that this question is being raised is because we have been told, and I say we as Shreveporters, at least for the last 10 years, that Shreveport would never elect a Republican mayor, that those days were gone. But yet, the facts as they bear out in this election is that if Republicans had voted for a Republican candidate,
a single Republican candidate,
Jim Taliaferro would have been in the runoff. Whether that was with Adrian Perkins or whether that was with Ollie Tyler, that's another debate altogether.
Yeah, and if my uncle had, well, no, it was my aunt, but never mind. So as you look at the race wrapping up, I would think if you believe, well, I don't know.
It's very confusing for a lot of voters because you are looking at two candidates and you're trying to evaluate, is Adrian Perkins truly the fresh face on City Hall, or is he merely a mask of some very old ones? And so for a lot of folks, that's the decision that they're making. The whole reason that text came in, the whole reason that there are so many people that are asking questions about this race today is because there are more unanswered questions than there are answers about Adrian Perkins. Why is it that someone who always planned to come back to Shreveport bought a house in Georgia? Why does he not have a job? Why has he never voted? Why is it on his resume that he worked for the city of Shreveport and yet he never did?
We could have played, in fact, we talked about it, of playing a little who's the candidate game and listing their residences outside of Shreveport. I mean, it's Adrian's not the only one who has residency questions.
But there certainly are more unanswered questions. That's the reason that this question that you're asking resonates with so many people.
So you're endorsing Tyler?
No, absolutely not.
I just threw that out there to see what
that's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Because what you really need to do as a voter is to get informed. Mayor Tyler certainly has her challenges, no doubt. The question is, do you go with someone that you know or you feel is at least honest with you, whom you feel you may know who she is, or do you go with someone, as your question poses, that perhaps maybe the fix is in? And
I didn't say the fix is in.
well,
you said the fix is in.
Well, with respect to, you're asking, did the Republican Party or did these folks recruit Adrian Perkins to Shreveport? So I think those are the questions for the voters right now. And again, there's more unanswered questions than there are answers.
Awesome stuff, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Great segment. Louis Avallone, chairman of the GOP, the Republican Party of Caddo Parish, and American Ground Radio, heard nightly here on KEEL with Steve Parr from 6 till 7 tonight, no exception. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update. Ruben's ready.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Brownlee Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're treated well to get the Weather Channel.
The Stone Age.
Queens of the Stone Age.
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. She back on Monday. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. I think when we talk about Louisiana coin and jewelry, we're talking about basically for the holidays, for Christmas, what is the gift of a lifetime? You will be giving, literally, you will be giving that special person in your life the gift of a lifetime, which I would think around most of our houses would rank one pretty high on the list of, well, let's run down the list of what they have. Diamond stud earrings, pendants, rings, tennis bracelets, watches, diamonds, gemstones, pearls. The list goes on, including a rather substantial collection of luxury watches, Rolexes, other top-end brands. Some pretty awesome stuff. And you know what? Here's what they put. This is interesting. This is down at the bottom of the bullet points. I'd have put it up a little higher. She will never have to know how much money you saved. It's the time to be her hero this holiday season, and that first step is stopping by Louisiana Coin and Jewelry on Line Avenue. Home-owned and operated, locally owned and operated, family-owned and operated for more than 6 decades. When you stop by, tell them Robert at KEEL said that Robert at KEEL sent you in to do your shopping. Louisiana Coin and Laundry, Louisiana Coin and Jewelry, did that on purpose, on Line Avenue in the corner of Uptown Shopping Center in Shreveport. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we're dealing with some traffic delays on Knight Street near Shreveport-Barksdale Highway due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine's in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshine's in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. Jack Spring Electric Shockbuster button in hibernation because Ms. McCarty is off this week, but kind of put a tarp over it. Let's see. Oh, Roy Lang from the Time. Hey, Mr. Roy, how you been, man? Welcome back to Keel.
What is up, my friend?
I haven't spoken to you in quite a while. Hopefully things are well. In fact, we haven't even run into each other. We haven't even run into each other accidentally of late. That's a little odd, huh? You been on the road a lot?
I know. Every time I come by, you're too busy, signing autographs at the Mudbugs games and stuff. So I know you're a busy man. I don't want to intrude.
You know what? The phrase that everybody is using this morning is, and it's a Booger McFarland line from last night, Monday Night Football. This is the new NFL, the NFL of the future. I said a couple of months ago, I said, maybe right at the start of the season, I said the NFL is really turning into arena football, just on a bigger field. You watched that game last night. Is what you saw last night what we're going to see for years and years to come?
Well, I think in a way, for sure, that the NFL, no doubt, this year has been higher scoring, and that's because of some of the rules that have been instituted in the hope of player safety, and it's something that has to be done. I mean, if we look at football and the size of these guys and how fast they are, there had to be some rules. We're talking about people's livelihood and lives on the line. I mean, yeah, these guys are making great money, but look at what happens to them in 15 years. So anyway, that's obviously been the precedent for the rules, and the fact that the NFL doesn't want to get sued into oblivion with all these head injuries. So yes, this is the new NFL, but there aren't too many teams that can do what these two teams did last night. And I think it might have been Booger, or maybe it was Jason Witten that also mentioned that. They mentioned the Saints obviously could do some of the stuff that these two teams did last night and score 50 points apiece. Kansas City, the first team in NFL history to lose, scoring at least 50 points. So it's the new NFL, and but at the same time, remember there was there was at least one pick six, a bunch of defensive turnovers. So there was some defense played, but with the offensive talent that was on the field last night, it certainly was fun.
One of the teams that can not only match up against Kansas City or Los Angeles, but they beat Los Angeles. I'm talking about the Saints. Are the Saints... Let me start with this. Drew Brees threw 4 touchdown passes on Sunday. On the first 3, and I said this to friends yesterday, on the first 3 touchdowns, he threw the ball into an area the size of a hat. There's not a coach in the world who would, looking at film frame by frame, say, yeah, that's the throw you make, yet he makes it and he succeeds. 2 questions. 1, are the Saints that good? And 2, is it because Drew Brees is at the top of his game, even at the age of 39, I guess?
Yeah, I'm going to go to your second one first. At 39, Drew Brees is always the last, at least tenure with the Saints, 12 years, 13 seasons, has always been labeled by accuracy and this and that, and he happens to be at his best right now, his most accurate at 39 years old, which is incredible. There's no doubt about it that Drew Brees is playing his best football right now. And yes, the Saints are that good. The problem with the Saints, and I tweeted this weekend, they cannot wait until January gets here. We're only in mid to late November. A lot of football to be played, but if the playoffs started right now, the Saints would certainly have to be the favorite. The Rams and the Chiefs would certainly be right there as well. But there's a lot of football to go, and the Saints sure hope that comes with them playing this well.
We're watching Alabama. This is just sort of as an aside. Watch Alabama blow through their schedule, just stomping on everybody. And then you watch Alvin Kamara for the Saints, and you think, here's a guy who went to Alabama and couldn't get on the field. What a playmaker he's become for New Orleans this year. Well, and last year too, huh?
Yeah, he's incredible. Certainly one of the most explosive players in the league. And the funny thing is, when Mark Ingram was out, they showed that Kamara could be sort of an every down back, not just a fun tool like they used to use Reggie Bush. But then when Mark Ingram comes back, you don't have to get Kamara these 20, 25 touches, and so that means he's at his best throughout the game. So a very, an incredible player there, and someone who would make a huge difference in the postseason, and a guy they're going to have, if he stays healthy for who knows how long, years to come.
Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. I thought they looked pretty good against the Falcons, but was it the Cowboys who looked good, or was it just because Zeke was awesome?
No, I think the Cowboys, this is what you're going to get out of the Cowboys. Dak Prescott finally has the number 1 receiver, so the passing game can be used when needed. But that team, offensively is going to revolve around Ezekiel Elliott, whether it's passing, catching out of the backfield or just pounding it up the middle. So, the Cowboys aren't going to be the Drew Brees Saints type offense where they're going to have 400 yards passing and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean they can't be effective. Ball control, eat up the clock, and stuff like that. So the Cowboys are definitely better on offense and better as a team with the addition of Amari Cooper. However, they're certainly not in the class of the top 5 or 6 or 10 teams in the NFL right now. And But a huge game coming up Thursday. The winner of that game will be in first place in the NFC East. A must-win for the Cowboys because you look who comes into town the next Thursday night.
Interesting you mentioned Amari Cooper. Are the Cowboys good enough now with the addition of Cooper at wide receiver? Are they good enough now where if teams stuff Ezekiel Elliott and just concentrate on stopping the run, are they good enough now with Cooper to put the burden on Dak to carry the team?
I believe they are, depending on who they play. If they play one of the elite teams, probably not good enough. But I think, the other two-thirds of the NFL, the Cowboys can beat because Amari Cooper is good enough to help not only himself, but to get some of the other receivers, and we've seen it. They've drawn less coverage. So I do believe the Cowboys are good enough to do that without Ezekiel Elliott having a monster game like that. But it does depend who they play because they're still not that good.
Last question, and it may seem an odd one based on a team with a 5-5 record. Is Dak Prescott an underrated quarterback?
No, I don't think he's underrated. I think there's a pretty good mix of people that think he's good, but I think there's a lot of people that think he's not very good. So I would think, he's probably he didn't deserve as much of the credit as he got in 2016. He was really good, but he wasn't elite yet. He was a rookie, and he's not as bad as some of the stuff that's happened this year. Especially prior to the addition of Amari Cooper, because that offense, skill position-wise, outside of Ezekiel Elliott, was awful. So
you've got your.
He's a good quarterback right now.
You've got your finger.
Can he be better? We'll see.
You've got your finger probably more than any other NFL team. You've got your finger on the pulse of the Cowboys, and they have a big decision to make when it comes to Dak Prescott as far as the franchise tag or at least a large extended contract. And there's been some controversy, a lot of back and forth in Dallas over whether or not he deserves that huge deal. Do you think they do that deal?
Personally, right now, I think you franchise him until he proves, either way, whether he deserves a big contract or not. Right now, I'd be on the fence. I wouldn't give him a huge contract right now. He's not elite, but he is very good. And in the NFL, it's tough to find good to very good quarterbacks. There's a lot of there's a lot of average or subpar quarterbacks playing in the NFL right now. But I wouldn't be against the Cowboys franchising him, for another year or two after his contract is over to see if he gets that mega deal.
Roy Lang, Times newspaper. Great stuff as always. Hope to run into you soon, my friend. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we're dealing with some traffic delays on Knight Street near Shreveport-Barksdale Highway due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sun shines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, 6 away from 9 o'clock. If you were here in the 6 o'clock hour and a little bit in the 7 o'clock hour, Matt has a dilemma. Can you sum up your dilemma in one simple, declarative, I'm kind of a screw-up sort of sentence?
I double booked myself with dates for Willie Nelson Friday night.
So there's two
lovely ladies
who are anticipating spending an evening with lovely Matt Parker.
And Willie Nelson.
And you've only got 2 tickets.
Yeah.
Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Make them bid on the date.
Now there's an idea.
Hadn't thought of that one. Buy 4 tickets because you invited them both, but be honest with them. That way they can still go and have the option of going with someone else. This way you can go with the one you want.
That still sounds like a terrible idea.
Tell the truth and take both. If they're good-hearted, they will understand. Or perhaps, better yet, take a buddy with you and set him up with the nice one.
Hey, Robert, what are you doing Friday night?
I'm tied up. I got to Lysol the shower curtain. Okay, tomorrow morning, the interviews we're going to put up today. What did you think about the Louis Avallone? What did you think about his comments on whether or not that theory that it's sort of that the Perkins, I could read we've read the email before, the text before, that Perkins is sort of a plant. I'm going, is that tinfoil hat stuff?
Maybe a little bit, but the way Louis reacted made me think, well, maybe not so much, because he didn't quite say it, but he kind of went out on the limb of implying that it's not real Democrats or Republicans, it's power-hungry animals, basically.
But on the other hand, if the theory is that old-school moneyed Republicans and old-school liberal Democrats are teaming up to back Perkins in the mayor's race, isn't it odd that Louis, a GOP Republican leader, and Cedric Glover, a very liberal Democrat, seem to be teaming up to beat up on Adrian? Am I missing the boat here?
No, I think that's a fairly accurate observation.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben. No, wait. Here's Kim Commando.
You're shopping online and getting a ton of email receipts. Watch out for the clever ones sent by scammers. Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by BePrepared.com. What you need, when you need it. Visit BePrepared.com/Kim. Your best bet is to use only one email address when online shopping, and then use filters to set rules that email from this address gets automatically sorted into a specific folder. The same thing for your credit card. Use only one card and never a debit card. This way you're organized in case something doesn't get delivered or you need to make a return. And watch out for any phishing emails that mention orders or shipments. On the rise are fraudulent confirmation emails pretending to be from FedEx, the post office, or a site saying that a package could not be delivered. You're asked to open an attachment to get an invoice for the package. You do that and bam! You've got the gift that keeps on giving, malware or ransomware. I'm Kim Commando.
They may not be your ordinary political pundits, but these days, that's a good thing. These mamas make sense. Terry Netterville and Denise Arthur. Listen to Mama on American Ground Radio. Weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. Right here on 1017 FM and 710 Keel. And streaming live at keelnews.com.
.117 FM, 710 Keel. Don't forget the Keel app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Fox News, Moon Griffon standing by. In the meantime, one more look at traffic for this show today. Here's Ruben.
Traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we're dealing with some traffic delays on Knight Street near Shreveport-Barksdale Highway due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Well, our next chance of rain here for the Arklatex looks to come in on Friday. Fine weather expected through Thanksgiving Day. Sun shines in the forecast today, 57. Clear tonight, low 35. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 58. Thanksgiving Day, sunshines in the forecast. Thursday's high up to 61. We're True to Weather, get the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.